Alright, Papa-Pepper here. This is video number 14 of my Advice from Papa series. Last time I just kind of tried to more explain Steemit and the whole system and how it works kind of in a simple way. And this time what I wanted to do is talk to you guys about the tone of text. Because when we're dealing with Steemit, unless we're doing videos, all we're redoing is reading text. And text doesn't really carry a tone. Therefore, the intent is not always going to match the interpretation. And by the time somebody reads your comment or reads your post, the intent doesn't really matter the second that they interpret or misinterpret it. Because however they interpret it is, in a sense, reality for them at that moment. I remember being at a marriage conference with Mama Pepper some years back, and there was a speaker there by the name of Greg Speck, and he did a really nice illustration. But the words he used was, "Hey, I'm not mad at you." And he did it 3 different ways. I'm going to do it 2 for you. But at the one point, he turns away from the crowd, he spins around, and he says, "Hey, I'm not mad at you." Okay. Then he used the same words, turned around to face away from the crowd again, and as he spun back to face the crowd, he said, "Hey, I'm not mad at you." So as you can see, the words there were exactly the same. Hey, I'm not mad at you. But I bet you the first time I said it was a lot more believable than the second time. Now, obviously, it was the voice there, the tone, the demeanor, the way that it was spoken, that changed how the message was received. But when we're dealing with just typing text back and forth to one another, it should at least be somewhere in our realm of consciousness that the person who reads this may not exactly understand it the same way that I'm trying to type it. Therefore, things that could easily be misinterpreted or misconstrued to mean something else should kind of be shied away from. And sometimes when we're trying to be humorous or funny, somebody may not realize that. You could type, "Nice post, that's so original." You know, either it could be interpreted as, "Nice post, that's so original," or "Nice post, that's so original." So we got to be careful. And as well, as we encounter people who have made, text, if they've either put it up in a post or they've shot us a comment, we may say, "Hey, wait a minute, this doesn't seem quite right. Is this person making fun of me? Are they trying to say something here?" So then I would recommend, in a gentle and humble manner, just simply trying to ask a question to them, if you really want to know, rather than responding negatively to it. Somebody could make a comment that you interpret as being sarcastic or offensive, and you could say, "Oh, well, this person just made this horrible comment on my post," and you could run over to their post and all of a sudden, comment on theirs like, "Oh, this is a really nice post. I'm glad somebody finally did something like this because I haven't seen this 1,000 times before." And then some other user can come along and they look at their friend's post and they see your comment there and like, "Wow, what is this jerk doing?" So they decide to downvote you. They're like, "Nobody needs to read this person being a jerk like this." So they downvote your post and it flags it and it turns it grayed out. Or you got to click to reveal it. And then all of a sudden you realize somebody else started flagging your comments. So you go over and you start flagging their comments. I've seen this type of stuff happen before. I know it sounds, unrealistic, far-fetched, that type of stuff, but these things happen. Therefore, it's better for you, if you think somebody's trying to offend you, to either A, be offended. Say, "Okay, they tried to offend me, I am offended," and go about your life. Leave it alone. Or ask a question, maybe it's a misunderstanding. That's kind of the tone of the text part that I wanted to point out. I remember first kind of encountering that when I got into more office work at a job I had up in Wisconsin, and all of a sudden I'm dealing with these people and it's like, this doesn't seem reasonable interaction for a business. And obviously Steemit's not a business per se, the way we interact, but with the financial aspect, you know, the potential for payouts, perhaps we should be a little more professional. But then also, in the office setting I was in, there were some times where it's like there was absolutely no way what this person just said can be interpreted positive in any way. Therefore, what do? You know, do I retaliate? Do I attack them? Do I whatever? Or do I just let it slide? Obviously, it's not always a good idea to start a war. So I'd recommend staying away from that. Especially if you're the underdog or the low man on the totem pole. You don't want to, you know, bite off more than you can chew, bring a knife to a gunfight, and wind up having negative consequences for yourself. The second thing that I wanted to point out in this one is Steemit pretty much, for the most part, the majority, is an English-speaking platform. Now, there is other, you know, platforms within it. I mean, not platforms, but kind of subgroups where you can find Korean posts or Spanish posts or German posts. But for the most part, a lot of the interaction is done in English. And even if it's not, if somebody is interacting in a tongue that's not their native tongue, you know, I could try to say something in Spanish to somebody. I know some Spanish, but I may not say it right. Somebody who speaks Chinese could try to say something to me in English, and it may not come out right. It may not be spelled right. So, or maybe they speak English and they're just not that good at writing. Do I want to point out every punctuation error that they have? Well, if they didn't ask for it, maybe they don't want me to. If there's misspellings and stuff, do I want to say, hey, nice word there, you know, you spelled good job, ma'am, and I'm a man. You know, you hit an M instead of an N at the end of that. And I could sit there and really just be a jerk to somebody. And, you know, either they hit a wrong key, either they're not that good at typing, or maybe they have a language, you know, barrier to some degree there. So as we deal with this global community, first of all, within languages, we're all human. So there's a potential to make errors here and there. Within native tongues, there's different levels of learning and understanding and, you know, even just mental capability. And then as we try to break down language barriers and speak with one another in other tongues that are not our native tongue, there's an incredible possibility for misinterpretation. I remember somebody before said something, I forget what the post was or what I had done, but they said, "You are completely insane, man." And I replied back, "Completely?" question mark, because, you know, maybe I'm just a little insane. So they said, "You're completely insane." I said, "Completely?" And they said, "Oh, complete. You're complete insane. Sorry, I speak Spanish." I'm like, "Oh, no, completely is right. I was just trying to make a joke back." But anyway, we interacted well through it, and but you can see where they used the word completely, which was their accurate word. When I tried to, you know, reply back, all of a sudden they thought they had done it wrong because English wasn't their native tongue. So anyway, don't tick off an entire language group. Don't be jerks one to another. I make spelling errors. And, you know, a couple people actually do point them out to me. And they actually point them out to me in the chat now. And they, you know, rather than the comment section. And just say, "Hey, Papa, you know, you use this word here, you know, you spelled you wrong. You threw an I in there, you know, Y-I-O-U or something, you know." And I go and edit then and fix it. So there is nice ways to help people. But sometimes, too, it's just a mistake, it's just an error, it's a language barrier or something else that's going on. So contemplate the way you type your comments and posts and the way that they could be interpreted, because people are just dealing with text, they're not dealing with your voice. And then as well, when people bring things to you, when they send you a comment, think about the way that it could be misinterpreted if you think there's something wrong, you know. Is there a way that could have been meant some other way? Is there something else going on here? Should I just let it slide, or should I ask a question? Above all, I'd just recommend not being a jerk about it. And kind of be wary of the global community, that type of stuff too. There'll be plenty of plenty of mistakes, plenty of errors, plenty of times when we're trying to interact with others. And as newer users especially, try to do so with tact, with genuine compassion even. You know, just care for somebody else and try to handle things appropriately. So that's advice number 14. Pop out. Hopefully it helped.